Hello, people. This is just intro number two. Just to let you know that the following video will have a somewhat annoying little hum in the background, which was a microphone issue and the software I was recording it on. So this is the big, like, number two video after the short intro one. So this is like an intro to video number two, which is predominantly attachment style. Okay, so I believe I went into quite a bit of in-depth talk around secure, anxious, fearful avoidant, dismissive avoidant, and a little bit of Гэri Chepmen's love languages. And so moving forward, video three is probably going to deal with the Russian app VK, which is sort of their version of Facebook. And someone posted a rather controversial thing on why the world no longer wants a Russian wife, and it's a very harsh critique, but it segues into yet another East versus West little discussion topic I came up with after talking to numerous Slavic people. Okay, so enjoy the video or not, as the case may be, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay. All right, so here we go. So I have recorded this. This is the fourth time. It crashes in Clipchamp. I have a rumbling in this, and when I get around to fixing it, I'll fix it. So while I had this rehearsed in my head of like the last 30 minutes saying the same thing for 10 minutes in each block. Here we go. So series of videos, if they turn into a series, will be on the human condition of interpersonal relationships between Homo sapiens on planet Earth. So it's a complex and intricate subject, and nothing about it is particularly easy or simple, and I will just need a sip of tea to keep going. So we're going to deal with attachment style. Now, attachment style is predominantly written about in a lot of books, but the most recognized one is the book simply called Attached. So this book was recommended to me years ago when I had difficulty in a relationship. I stubbornly did not read it. Recently I had a need to read it, so I read it for a friend as like an audio book type thing, with some interjections about my own lived with experiences. So there are two books, and there is one which isn't around attachment style, but it's Гэri Chepmen's The Five Love Languages. Now, I do like to sort of reference a couple of things. So I'm not sure if I can find for you right now the love languages. Here we go. So there's physical touch, which isn't just intimacy, but it's kissing, hugging, holding hands. You have quality time, which is sort of sitting and talking and sharing meals together, watching movies together. Receiving gifts is self-explanatory. One thinks receiving a gift is, that's the way they feel loved, okay? Acts of service is things like mowing the lawn, mopping floors, going to the shops, things like that, where the other person thinks when you're doing it, you are showing them that they are loved. And then there is words of affirmation, which is more like, thank you for doing this, or you look very nice today, type thing. So that's a coffee shop sort of superficial. It's sort of more around, I don't know, feelings sort of. Sometimes they bounce ideas off people, and so attachment explains the why people experience love the way they do. Language is sort of describes how they do it, which is a good way of putting it, really. So attachment style is, and I know some people do not like to buy into the concept of childhood, and what happens in your childhood determines the person you become and live out to be. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your situation, this is very grounded information in a lot of evidence-based research. I mean, a lot. There is a lot of correlating data. There are always exceptions to rules. I know when people say something, someone will come in with, but I know blah, and you do know blah. But I am trying to talk in a contextual way of, yes, putting people into boxes. What a horrible thing to do. Well, you know, sometimes those boxes help people. Sometimes they go, oh, I'm that, and what can I do to assist me if I have that? And some people benefit greatly from being boxed and go, I know what I have. So attachment style is sort of worked out, and it happens when the blueprint of personality is between the ages of 2 to 7. So it fundamentally comes out of the way you have been brought up by your parents and or caregivers. So in this day and age, a lot of people know what the word trauma is. A lot of people know what the word trigger is. So you will find a very vehement critique of stoicism from me later on, where I, in my little mind, rip it to shreds and say stoicism does not work, that compartmentalizing things, pretending they didn't happen, trying to live in the moment, the past is the past, has created generations of people unable to build healthy relationships because they do not address their issues and count on someone coming along to make them feel safe enough they don't have to face the issues. And then when it becomes a problem, it's certainly not the person with the problem, is it? It's that one over there is the problem. But we all have our problems. So you can think you can jump to the next person. Maybe they won't trigger me. And guess what? They will. And why? Because they are a Homo sapien. They are not a unicorn. So we will continue with finalizing off what the attachment styles are, and then it will be time for me to probably get some sleep. So secure attached, 55 or 60% of the population, they are the ones who I like to refer to as growing up as the ones you see in your perfect breakfast cereal commercial. I used to sort of reference Brady Bunch, but I don't think they're particularly functional. And the Partridge Family are great when they're playing songs together, but the rival between David Cassidy and the guy that played Danny was pretty significant. Lots of humour in it, but I know it lies under a lot of humour. So, breakfast commercial. Loving mummy, daddy, loving kids. They have healthy rapport with each other. They're affectionate, they kiss, they hold hands, not afraid of showing love. They show that same love to their children. Their children feel loved, they feel nurtured, their needs are met. They are encouraged at school, supported, and secure. They feel safe and secure because their parents are safe and secure. So they tend to grow up and find a partner who's probably secure and have a somewhat healthy relationship. I'm not going to say that they don't get divorced. I'm not going to say that. I'm saying there's probably less likelihood they get divorced because they can sit down and rationalise things. Гэri Chepmena in the Love Languages talks about the euphoric state of being in love, which apparently lasts around the 2-year cycle. So you come out of that euphoric thing of, oh, someone loves me, of all the people on planet Earth, and then you come down to Earth and go, hubby doesn't put that dirty glass in the sink, or so-and-so leaves their underwear on the floor, and it starts to really annoy them, but in that 2 years it did not. So it doesn't mean they break up. It means they'll sit down and go, my dear, do you think you could pick your underwear up off the floor and put it in the dirty clothes basket? And they go, well, I had no idea that annoyed you, but I will do that. So they resolve their differences through effective communication. Then we have, I like to do it in the order of secure, anxious / preoccupied, dismissive avoidant, and then fearful avoidant, because that's the lowest percentage. So anxious preoccupied is where you grow up and you're not getting that love and affection which is in the secure family. So you got parents who might be neglecting you because they grew up in a family where love wasn't shown. So it's this rather vicious cycle, which would be great if it got broken and didn't continue to be a cycle where the next kid grows up not being loved and desperately seeks it out to have that unmet need met. So they will fall in love at the drop of a hat. If someone smiles at them, they're in love. And they don't rationalise out the compatibility factor. And then, so a good way of, I like to do the dichotomy of anxious to secure like this. Secure couple, one texts the other one, how are you? Gets no answer. They go, probably busy. They'll text me and they get time. That's how it works. Anxious sends, how are you? Gets nothing back. They will go into a spiral. They will go, oh my God, they didn't text me back. Are they dead? Has something happened? Have they stopped loving me? Have they found someone else? Are they going to leave me? So all this anxious stuff comes in. It's irrational, but as soon as they get the reply, they generally calm down. Some of them will go into protest behaviour and be not pleasant to the other person, like, why couldn't you text me? Don't you love me anymore? And get quite unpleasant about it. Then, so that's roughly 7 to 20% is anxious preoccupied. So preoccupied means they obsess over their partner. So then we have the not wonderful dismissive avoidant, 15 to 25%. Now, I've gotten into some heated discussions about where narcissism fits in amongst this. Generally speaking, apparently, if you're secure, you have less chance of being narcissistic. Anxious, you can have some narcissistic traits, but you're doing it from fear. You're not doing it to actually actively control and put the other person down to feel bigger and better. So, dismissive avoidant is what it is. They actually dismiss your feelings. Your feelings they don't actually care about. And so you might go, well, why did I want a relationship? I ask this question every day. A lot of it's societal pressure. A lot of it's that they are a Homo sapien and are a social animal, and actually some of them just reduce it down to wanting to have sex and procreation. And generally just have children. So there's no emotion involved. They grow up with parents who are working, obsessively working, highly motivated parents who workaholics was the word I was trying to think of. They are workaholics, so they feign off their little loved ones to complete strangers to raise them. So you grow up going, looking from the crib, this is what love is. Mummy, daddy leave me in the hands of a stranger at 8 o'clock at night, then they pay me no attention, put me into bed, and that's it. And they don't even talk to each other, and go to bed and sleep in separate bedrooms, and they grow up and think that's what love is, where there's no love. They think that's normal. So this is where for some curious reason an anxious, preoccupied one somehow gravitates towards the dismissive avoidant. But it could be the dismissive avoidant uses the person for their own needs. Like if I manipulate this person and just show them a bit of attention every now and then, they just hunger for more and hang around. But there's dismissive avoidant in there that the avoidance comes from. They are told there is no one in the world you can rely on other than yourself. And then you grow up going, I do not need another person. So you are avoidant of the relationship. You are dismissive of their feelings because you don't have any. So then that's 20% of the population, depending on what you read. Then you have fearful, avoidant, and disorganized. This is the most difficult for me to understand. You have a ping pong effect. So what's their childhood like? Their childhood is like this. You could be a little person and have a storybook. You run up to mummy, she's on the couch. She goes, come here, little one, let me read this story to you. You feel safe, nurtured, this is so nice. The next day you're thinking, that was nice yesterday, I think I could do that again. I'll run up to mummy with my book, and mummy has some issues. Could be alcoholism, could be drug withdrawal, could be trauma. But she does not act the same way. She will grab the book, throw it across the room and say, get out of here, you pest. Don't bother me. So you run off going, Monday mummy loves me, Tuesday mummy hates me. So you then develop what they literally say, you ping pong, right? So you want this love, you start to get this love. You go, this is starting to overwhelm me. I'm losing who I am. I'm going to avoid this love because you know what? The person that loves me is probably going to yell at me tomorrow. They're probably going to leave me. So I'm going to leave before they leave me. So that's the fear, the fearful part of it. And the avoidant part is, so they go into what's known as deactivation, where they can be incredibly loving for short periods of time, and then they get uncomfortable. And a lot of us do that anyway. There's the honeymoon period where you're all over each other and then you need your space, right? But it's still healthy. You still actually want to come along and be with that person, but maybe just have some space. But you don't leave them. You stay, but you pull apart a little. Still healthy. The fearful avoidant, not healthy. Not healthy at all. Neither is dismissive avoidant. Neither particularly is anxious unless they're healing. So this explains, what can we think about? Remember the movie Runaway Bride? Really good example of all of this. You know, could be that could be a blend of fearful avoidant with dismissive. More like fearful because they're scared, right? She runs because she's scared, terrified of losing who she is, probably terrified that they might get married and get divorced the next day. I'd have to watch the movie again. But we shall end this saga at that, and then carry on with love languages, and we will go into a rather epic little paper which came out of a lot of research. It's a fantastic quote from a Slavic woman. Just amazing. Very supportive quote, backs up a lot of the ramblings of me. So I will edit this and you probably won't even know that I have stopped the video.